Hello, hello, hello! So this is Myrmecia urens. Not urine, urens. She's a tiny queen measuring about 12 millimeters long from the genus Myrmecia, commonly called bull ants. I'd bought her from a lovely guy who's recently caught her on her nuptial flight, and it looks like she's successfully mated as she's already laid one very tiny egg. Myrmecia comprise some of the largest ant species in the world, including Nigroscarpa and Brevinota. Some species of Myrmecia, like the Pilosula, also go by the common name jack-jumper ants for their ability to jump short distances, although most Myrmecia display this trait during hunting or defensive behaviours. They hold a very special place in my heart as well, since the first queen I ever caught during a nuptial flight was a Myrmecia nigroscarpa. She's a fiery behemoth of a queen who I feel confident to say wouldn't reciprocate my adoration for her if she was given the chance to sting me when I'm disturbing her outworld. Unlike other ants which rely on the use of scent trails to locate food and to navigate home to their nests, Myrmecia opt instead to use their vision to hunt and navigate. Their vision is surprisingly strong and is heavily based on movement. They're very strong hunters, and once again challenging the status quo of most ants, they prefer to hunt alone rather than as a collective combined effort, most often seen in swarming species like Myrmex and Ocophila. It's hard to miss their large mandibles as well, which are incredibly large and powerful, proportionate to their body size. Their mandibles allow a vice-like grip to prevent their target escaping, and they're known to just grip and not let go. They pack a punch as well when it comes to their venom, and it's a painful sting that many Australians know them for. Their stinger doesn't have barbs like bees, which allows them to sting repeatedly like a wasp. I've heard anecdotally how painful their sting is, and for a small portion of the population, severe anaphylaxis can actually occur, requiring immediate medical attention. To my knowledge, I'm fortunately not allergic to ant venom, nor have I been tagged by a Myrmecia before, but they do deserve respect and appropriate caution when working with them. Fun fact, a species of terrestrial myrmecophytic orchid, Leporella fimbriata, endemic to Victoria, relies exclusively on the nuptial flights of Myrmecia urens drones for pollination. The flowers mimic urens queens, both in visual morphology and through the production of pheromone-like compounds. Now, many of my founding queens, I'll start out in a tubs and tubes setup. However, for colonies which might be a handful to move over to their more permanent setups after a few workers arrive, I prefer to go straight in with a modular nest. This way I can avoid potentially copping a sting from a worker if I fumble moving them around down the track, and it's a personal preference of mine to keep the original test tube attached to the modular nest during founding as a way to provide more options to the queen to allow her to choose the most preferred site. This is especially important in my mind during the founding stage, where prior to the workers arriving, the queen is much more likely to become stressed, and a stressed queen is liable to not laying eggs, eating laid eggs, or eating larvae. Now, Myrmecia are a semi-claustral genus as well. So, unlike claustral genera like Camponotus, where the queen will utilize fat reserves during founding to raise her first generation of workers, semi-claustral queens will still actively feed and hunt during this phase, so allowing the opportunity to access a foraging site like this outworld for food is a must. The kind of modular nest I love and use for most of my colonies are these 3D printed nests from DillAnt. They're reliable, great quality nests, and the bloke and his son who make them are absolutely stellar people. I'll leave a link to their website in the bio of this video. I did record a bit of footage putting together the outworld, but I'm a nong and somehow deleted it prior to backing it up. I'll remember to back up footage like that in the future. As mentioned, my preference is to leave the original test tube attached to the founding nest to provide the queen more options for nesting. I overestimated the size of this tube when ordering this nest, so the tube connector is one size too large. So I've just wrapped some of the packaging foam and a zip tie around the junction between the connector and the test tube, just to close that gap and ensure Miss Queenie can't escape. I've covered the test tube with some foil to keep it nice and dark, and I also got a cover for the founding nest to keep that chamber dark as well. Queens can stress very easily during founding, and I've had instances myself of brood and eggs being eaten when the queen has been disturbed too much. I take an approach of virtually never checking my queens until I start seeing workers arriving, and even then I still avoid ever opening the nest. I will strategically adjust the cover to check water supply and any potential moulding adjacent to it, but otherwise I'll let these girls settle in undisturbed. To get her settled in for her first night in the new nest, I've popped her onto a shelf in a room which stays about 20 degrees Celsius most of the time, with some other colonies also at their founding stage. I'll give her some honey now, but given at present I know she's only got the single egg, which she may end up eating from stress anyway, I'll hold off on providing any protein for the first few days. In terms of the timeline ahead, Myrmecia are much slower to grow their colonies than other smaller genera. I've heard that the larger the ant is, the longer the life cycle takes, with pupation alone reportedly taking a few months for some of the largest Myrmecia species. I am really interested to see if this size versus growth rate correlation applies here as well, whether this queen will have much faster growth than other Myrmecia because of her tiny size, or whether she'll be giving the same slow growth rates Myrmecia are known for. I'm ecstatic to see this little queen join the invert room, and I'm really excited to see what keeping this mini Myrmecia is like. Hopefully I'll have some updates soon of new workers arriving and being able to catch footage showcasing just how fearless this genus is. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Catch ya.